Hello students, welcome to the cryptography network security subject. Module 2 we are learning. And in the next session now we are going to look into Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange. In the previous session, with respect to this Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange, we learned what actually primitive root is, how to calculate the primitive root. Now in this session we are going to see what exactly the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange is. Right, so let's start the session. Uh, See, whenever the two parties involved in the communication, let's say we have two parties A and B, and they have to start communicating, and for if suppose they require a same secret key to be shared between them, right? So but they don't want to send that secret key in this communication channel. Both have to use same secret key, but they don't want that secret key to be sent through the channel. So in such case, how we can generate that keys? So that is what is Diffie-Hellman key exchange will help us to achieve, right? Basically, what it makes use of is it makes use of certain public mathematical parameters, and if suppose eavesdroppers, whoever the attacker is, if suppose they listen to the communication also, the values that is getting exchanged between A and B, so they are not, even if they are leaked, it doesn't threaten us, right? So we can say that they are harmless. The values that gets exchanged during the communication, even though it gets leaked, it is harmless for us, right? So the security of this Diffie-Hellman exchange, it heavily relies on the discrete logarithm problem. Right. So, how hard or how effective my discrete logarithm problem is, based on that, the security of the Diffie-Hellman key exchange depends. If the discrete logarithm problem is very hard, then we can say that we have a more high security implied. If it is little weak, then we say that security is not that much. Right. Now here, one thing that we have to understand is, so the key it is the secret key, they are generated on the sender as well as the receiver side separately. It does not prove the identities, right? So for A is not proving its identity to B, and B is not proving its identity to A. So they are going to generate a key themselves. How they are going to generate is what we are going to look into in this particular session. Now let's say that there are two parties, say allies and then Bob. These are the two entities involved in communication. Now, both these entities will agree upon a public parameter. One is Q, which is a prime number, and the other one is its primitive root alpha. In the previous video, I told we had considered x as the primitive root, but I said that some textbooks uses alpha, so now we are using alpha. And this alpha, it should be such that it is, I'm considering it to be less than q. I'm considering it to be less than q. Now these two are the public parameters, right? Which is available to everyone, which it both knows, and it also it is available, because you take any prime number, finding its primitive root is not difficult, right? We have a procedure, anybody can do it. Now, basically, as in the second step, what Allies and Bob do is, Allies will select its private key XA, and this XA, we are considering it to be less than Q, right? Now, this is private key, so you know what is the meaning of private key, right? Private key means nobody knows it; only Allies will be knowing. Likewise, Bob is creating or generating its private key, that is XB. Now I'm considering this XB also to be less than Q. So this XB is private key of Bob, right? This XB is private key of Bob. Now once they select their private key, what Allies does is, Allies from this private key, it will generate its public key. Okay, Allies will generate its public key. How alias is generating public key? Let us call public to be as ya. So what is this ya? Ya is nothing but alpha power xa mod q. Alpha power xa mod q. And likewise, Bob is also generating public key through private key. And let's Bob's public key be yb. Now how is this generated? Alpha power xb mod q. See, this xb here and xa here, they are not known to anybody. But this alpha and q, there is a chance that this is known to everyone because they are global, public parameters. Now, once they generate the public key, as you know, public key means it will be in the repository. What Alice and Bob do is they will exchange their public key. Or you can think like Bob after generating the public key and Alice after generating her public key, they both going to put it in the repository. The other person will take it. You either consider it that way or you consider that they both are exchanging their public key because it is public, they can easily exchange. It's no harm in it. Everybody will be knowing that. Now, once that public key is exchanged, each one of them will generate a secret key. Alice will generate secret key in this fashion. It She uses the public key of the Bob and her own private key to generate the key. That is K. Here, this another K, that is, let's say this is K1 and let's say this is K2. K2 is generated at Bob's side. So Bob, what he will do? He will uses the public key of the allies and takes it to the power of private key of his own. Then find mod q. Right now, this is the key generated at the Bob side. This is the key generated at the allies side. As I told earlier, the key is generated. Secret value is shared, but it is not sent through communication channel. What is sent through communication channel? Only the public keys. See, this key, this K1 and this K2, they should be equal. They are equal. Now, how they are equal? That is what we are doing. So, if they are equal, it means that key is secretly shared. Now, let's see. Let's take this. Okay. Let's take this K1. So, what is K1? K1 is nothing but XB. Sorry. K1 is what? YB, right? So, it is YB power XA mod Q. Now, tell me how YB is generated. YB is generated as alpha power XB whole power XA mod Q. Am I correct? So this YB is generated as, so we can consider it this way. So let's take it like this: alpha power XB mod Q power XA, right? And mod Q. And in modulus operation, we know that we can write this as alpha power xb whole power xa mod q. Right? That's the beauty of modulus operation that we are having. Now, this, as per the the law of identity, can I write this as alpha power xb into xa mod q? Obviously. Now, further, can I write this as alpha power xa into xb mod q? Yes, I can. Further, can I write this as alpha power xa whole power xb mod q? Obviously. Now, can I write this alpha power xa as alpha power xa mod q power xb mod q? Yes, similar to what we have done here from this step to this step, right? Same thing from this step to this step, right? So now what is alpha power xa? It is nothing but ya power xb mod q, and you have seen that ya power xb mod q is nothing but what? K2, right? So from K1 I am able to derive K2, which means that K1 and K2 are equal, right? So this is how we say that the Diffie-Hellman key exchange has taken place. So when asked in exam, you just give a small introduction to Diffie-Hellman and explain this procedure of what is happening and show that K1 and K2 are equal. So this is what you have to write in the exam as well as in any other exams like internals also, right? Now, what are the disadvantages? Is there any disadvantage? Obviously, everything has disadvantage in it. That is why day in and day out we see a new technique, a new thing coming up, right? So, what is the disadvantage? First disadvantage is Diffie-Hellman key exchange does not verify identities. So an attacker who is sitting in the middle can impersonate that other person as other person, right? So this is called as man in the middle attack, right? So which we are going to see in the next session, man in the middle attack. And the second advantage disadvantage is it needs strong, well chosen public numbers, because if we make a weak choice it is easily breakable anyways. If we choose a strong public numbers also it is breakable, but we can increase that duration, right. So second thing is it requires a good randomness every time. Reusing the secret value can reveal the key. And the third disadvantage is it is heavier than symmetric cryptography, so it can slow things or it can even may lead to denial of service, right? Denial of service. And there is no built-in check that both parties have derived the same key. So here also we can see that allies derived key K1 and Bob derived key K2, but there was no check of whether they are both equal or not. So we did it right manually. So there is no automatic check, right? And the last disadvantage is their implementation. If suppose if the implementation is very poor, then the secret key might get leaked also. So these are the disadvantages of Diffie-Hellman key exchange. In this, one of the disadvantage that is man in the middle attack, we shall see in the next session. Thank you, students.